also known as the T2i and even the X4 in Japan. It's known by many names, but today we're going to cover everything about the camera and let you know if it's a good option to buy. We've got a mixture of people that are going to speak to you today. We've got 5 creators, professionals and upcoming experts to give you a point of view. So this will be your one-stop shop for everything to do with the old 12-year-old camera, only on this week's Photography Live Show. Thank you for joining us. So I'm your host Zulf, and in this week, as we've said, we're going to be looking solely at the Canon camera. So this is going to be a special one where we're going to get loads of creators on. We've also got a segment of the show where we provide images from our old camera, the 12-year-old camera, to be edited by retouchers to see what they can do with it. So don't forget, this has been designed for replay purposes. So if you weren't able to make the live show, in the chapters below, we have got the segments set up so you can actually check out what's been happening on the show in different segments. So before we carry on, I think it's time we look at some creators. So the guests have been able to come onto the shows and they've been giving us their feedback. So we'll go to Amsterdam first and get some reactions from Dustin. So he's reporting from Amsterdam.
Okay, I made it to Amsterdam. I'm here at one of the beautiful canals and the weather is great. One way you can get the most out of your cheaper camera is to use a prime lens. You can pick up Canon's version of a 50mm for crop sensor cameras for about $100 on Amazon. This lens is really great value. You can get super sharp photos, and with 1.8 aperture you can get smooth bokeh in the background. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it now. Alright, pause the video and see if you can tell which photo was taken with which camera, and leave your answer below in the comments. Okay, on to the next location. If you don't know already, the Netherlands is known for its tulips, and right now I'm in Keukenhof, which is kind of like an outdoor tulip museum. Anyway, if you're shooting with an older or cheaper DSLR, it's good to know the limitations of your camera. For instance, an older one won't have as many megapixels as the newer one, so you want to get as close to your subject as possible. Let's try it. Okay, as you can see, getting closer to your subject also creates a nice bokeh in the background. Okay, let's head back into the city for some more examples. Okay, with an older or cheaper camera, you won't have as much dynamic range as with a newer one, so you typically want to avoid low light situations. However, the 50mm 1.8 will help with that. Let's see how it looks. As you can see, there wasn't a whole lot of difference in the quality between the older camera and the 5D Mark IV, which is kind of surprising considering that this camera is like $270, whereas the Canon 5D Mark IV is nearly $3,000. I mean, sure, if you look closely, there is more dynamic range, and more megapixels means you can crop in further, but overall I just noticed a bit more detail in photos from the newer camera. Anyway, as I said earlier, I think this goes to show that you shouldn't let your gear limit you.
That was Dustin. Thank you for that report. That was excellent. We had a look at some example images from him, so he was able to show us what the difference was between a really old camera and a 5D Mark IV. So it's interesting that. What I will do is I'll show you some prints, so what you can actually achieve from a camera that's so old. So here's some of my old prints. As you can see, that was actually used in a Photographic Society award system. So that went around the world, basically. Got a few marks on it, but yeah, you can see that was taken with a 550D. I'll show you a couple more, and some of these are going to be edited in our Edit My Raw section. That's another fashion portrait that was taken on a 550D. I'm not holding it straight, but it gives you an idea of what types of photos you can get and the print quality. Probably not great watching this like this, but it shows you what is available. That's just a quick little landscape, which is going to be in our Edit My Raw section. So I gave this photo to a number of retouchers to see what they could do with it. So that gives you an idea of the print quality of the camera, even though it's an old camera. So I think it's time we speak to another guest. What do you think? A lot of people are looking for a budget camera to start on YouTube. What's the best thing to do when starting out?
When you're starting out as a camera person or as a filmmaker, it's tempting to buy high-end gear. You see so many YouTubers shooting on the newest mirrorless cameras or high-end like RE Alexas or Red Epics, and you're just like, you fetishize it. And as a filmmaker, I have gear acquisition syndrome. I'm always trying to stay up to date on what the newest gear is, what the newest camera is, lenses, drones. But even though nowadays becoming a filmmaker and being able to invest in gear is more affordable and accessible than ever as better cameras become cheaper, it's still prohibitively expensive when you're starting out.
A lot of people look at the 550D T2i as an outdated camera. What do you think about that?
Why use a camera that for all intents and purposes is so outdated? It's almost 9 years old at this point, shoots 1080p at 24 frames per second and a whopping 60 frames per second at 720p when I have more accessible, high quality gear available to me. I'm shooting on the Sony a7S Mark II right now. I own the Canon C300 Mark II. Why shoot something on such an old, outdated camera? I was talking to a cinematographer I know I've worked with a few times in Toronto. He does lots of high-end agency commercials. He's been doing it for years. And we were talking about how it's stupid for people to buy cameras. Shit. But what he meant was it's stupid for new filmmakers and new cinematographers and new camera people to go out and spend a ton of money on cameras that they may not be able to make a return on investment yet.
Yeah, you're right about that. A lot of my top performing videos on my channel were shot with a 550D T2i, so it proves as long as you know what you're doing with the camera, it actually works out quite well.
If you're shooting something for a small business that's going to go on their Facebook or their YouTube, you don't even need to shoot past like 720p. I mean, some of those shots in that little T2i sequence were 720p because they were 60 frames per second. The average consumer, people who are not into filmmaking, will not be able to tell if something was shot on a Canon Nifty 50 that cost $150 or an RE Ultra Prime 50 that cost $25,000. They have no gauge as to that. They are looking for good... Oh no, my light died. One sec.
What's your final top tips to get the best from your old cameras?
Problem with battery-powered lights. Is the content good? Is it entertaining? Am I learning something? And is it competently shot? If you're remotely competent, you'll make even the lamest of cameras shine.
Thank you, Mike. That was some great information from him. Make sure to check out his channel. I will be linking all the creators that we speak to in the description. And there's also a playlist. So I've set up a playlist with all the best 550D creators and videos in. So you can actually look at that. So once we have the show, we're going to have that all linked up. So it'll be good to see who spoke. But I think what would be good is I'll show you my setup because I do use the Canon 550D. And I've set it up in a special way where I can do video with it and use it as a webcam. So let me show you my setup. Should you buy a Canon 550D, also known as a T2i in America, in 2020 or in any year, to be honest? It's an old camera, but should you buy it? Today I'm going to be showing you my example of my Canon 550D with all the mods, and we're going to look at should you be getting it. So I do videos about photography related gear, and I give you examples of actual footage and photos of cameras and their ability. If you're not familiar with my channel, please subscribe so you get future notifications directly to you to help you along your photography journey. So my Canon 550D, let's have a closer look, shall we? So here I have a battery grip fitted, which is an extra function to allow longer battery life and to shoot in portrait mode. It's a great versatile camera, even for a 10, 11 odd year old camera. So you can see here it balances nicely. It's a good sized body with a 50mm lens, which I've got attached on it right now, which is a 1.4. So you're probably going to be looking at lenses as well if you've got the body. It normally comes with a kit lens, which is an 18-55 lens, which gets you shooting quite early and well with video as well, as it has IS. But you can see here what the body looks like in the hand. So if you're looking at this camera online and you want to see examples of how well it can perform, this video should help you. So let's have a closer inspection on this then. So this lens I've got on there is a 50mm 1.4 lens. This is a crop sensor body, which means that the camera is a smaller sized sensor than you would have on a full frame camera. If you're not familiar with that, you can check out my examples on my Learn Photography series of videos. Here you can see I'm actually using an older lens with this camera. So what this allows you to do is adapt older vintage lenses so you can get a mount and use it for video work. And here you can see the setup for my video rig, which is basically an attachment on the back viewfinder which lets you see better. And here's that extra battery grip, so you can actually see what the camera looks like without the battery grip attached. And you can actually see for an old camera it's actually future proofed. Here you have a little flap. So what that flap is for is actually you can get a battery adaptation unit which you can plug into the camera, and that lets you power it off the lead. So I'll show you that example here. I've got a separate video where I made it to show you it, but I'll give you a snippet of this so you can see what it does. So it's basically, it looks like a battery, but it's got a special plug in it, which you can see here. And it actually goes to a cord that you can plug into the power unit. So right now, these days, I use this camera for live streaming. So with this facility, I can actually live stream for hours on end because the power's plugged directly in. Here's a quick box look at the, well, if you're buying it new, what you can expect. I say new, but most likely it's going to be pre-owned in good condition. So you get your box, you get your camera, you get all the gear. So that's a quick look at what it looks like coming out the box. What is also interesting is I actually got the 500D before the 550. So here's a few pictures of that. And that is also another camera that you can consider, which is an older camera. So anyway, now back to the 550D. That's what it looks like with my eyepiece on as well. So you can use it for video work. I do quite a bit of video work with this actually. It's for more fashion catwalks, and that battery grip helps extend the life when you're out and about. So here you can see how it looks without a lens on, which is actually quite interesting to see. And to answer your question, if you should buy this camera in 2020, I think 100% it's a cheaper option camera, and it would be great camera to get you into photography and started into your journey as a photographer or even a videographer. But here's a look at the slow-mo footage you can get from this camera. It's not in camera live, but you can edit it to get slow-mo. I'll link you to some of the videos that we've done about this anyway, so you can check out that playlist coming up. So that was a quick look at some segments that I recorded previously. I thought I'd put them in here because part of this Canon 550D video, I want you to get a holistic view of everything that it can do, the types of video you can get with it, whether it can be shot in slow-mo and downsized, for example. So there's a few more creators we've got on board that will be speaking, but if you're in chat, make sure to say hello. I know we have got the edit my raw section later in the show. Hi Lakshmi, thanks for joining us. It's always great to have you on. We're just working through the first bit because we have dedicated this show to the Canon 550D. So we're going to be working through those segments and kind of bringing you the best you can do with older cameras. So I think let's have a look at another guest, because he actually spoke about the camera and gave us some interesting points. Great. Tell me about your T2i camera.
It's kind of crazy because, you know, this was my first camera and I still got it. And I'll always have it because it was my first camera, my first introduction to really the better level of shooting shooting video. Before that, I had a little old camcorder that, you know how you buy it and it flip out, a little camcorder with the fixed lens, and you only could do so much. But this was my first camera that, you know, gave me the ability to do more and change lenses. So
yes, I started with the T1i, which is a 500D, and now moved to the T2i, which I still use for these sit-down shots. I've got the 5D Mark II as an additional camera. What's your current setup on your camera?
This is the Canon T2i right now, filming me with the 50mm nifty 50 lens, 1.8. Right now I got it at a 2.0. And it looks great.
Yes, it does look great. I have a similar setup. Do you think you could still use a T2i for a paid gig?
I'm not gonna do it, but could you still pull it off? Yeah, you could definitely still pull off paid work with a T2i, as long as you know what you're doing. Get your shots right, make sure your focus is on point, and you can do it. And you know your lighting, you could definitely do it.
You're right, lighting is very important in this game, photography and video. What would you say to those that question the abilities of the T2i as an old camera?
You know, if you pixel peep and all of that, yeah, okay. It's not my 4K Blackmagic, it's not the 6K, it's not the A7 III, it's not, but you gotta agree, man. It's not that bad. And most people are gonna watch this on their phones. I think if you're a beginner, the T2i is still an okay camera to go to.
I do agree 100%. I've made a fair few videos mentioning why I would still get a Canon T2i in 2019 and 2020 even. It offers some great options for beginners and getting into the whole photography and video scene. There are some challenges with it though. Audio levels, there's a bit of an issue. What did you do to get your audio level sorted out? Because I know you've got a nice setup there.
But what I did do is this, and the audio you're listening to is through the Comical Wireless going into the T2i directly. Now, the T2i on its own, I would never do this, but I installed Magic Lantern. You install the Magic Lantern and you can cut off the AGC on your phone, on your T2i. Now AGC compensates, so it pushes air up. It tries to make sure you're at a level, so it's pushing the preamps and it sounds terrible. So the Magic Lantern takes off AGC, so it's just regular, so you're not gonna get that, so you can get clean audio. You know what I mean?
So that was me speaking to creator from Shoot Films. He's got a great channel, make sure to check him out. Again, I've linked the videos in the side playlist so you can go and watch the full videos. And it's always interesting to get different points of view from different levels of users. So you can see he makes films and he makes a number of different types of content. So it's interesting that he's got a camera in that lineup which he can use if he wanted to. I've spoken to a few more people as well, creators, to kind of give you varying levels, because I know everybody won't use it professionally. We're going to have some people that want to use a camera for YouTube videos, for vlogging, those kind of things. So I spoke to Hanafi about his setup. Let me bring you that quickly now. Creator, tell me about your Hanafi, tell me about your 550D camera.
We have an old camera, and to be honest, we haven't really been utilizing this camera. But today, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show that it's still possible to use all gear.
Nice setup there. Can you vlog with that?
So here I am using the 550D. I'm still using the whole setup that I just showed you earlier. I'm using the kit lens, so we're gonna see if we can actually vlog using this.
Give me a short example of a vlog just in your office there.
Instant noodle. So yeah, it's possible to vlog using this, except I wouldn't know when the camera has stopped recording.
Yes, I do agree. It can be tricky if you're vlogging with no screen.
You can still use this camera if you want to vlog using this camera, but he doesn't want to vlog using cameras because it's comfortable using his phone.
That was me speaking with Hanafi. So he was looking at his friend's option to do some vlogging and he suggested that camera. So the interesting thing about the 550D is it doesn't have the flip out screen. There are options to get around that. So you can use your mobile phone as a display where you can plug it in and actually view the display on the mobile phone, or even look at the 600D, which is basically the 550D with that flip out screen. So there are options there to improve vlogging for you if that's something you wanted. It doesn't have autofocus, so there are a few challenges. So it is an older camera, but I thought it'd be good to touch base with Hanafi so we can get him on the show and he can explain how to use a camera in the way he does. He's got a lot more videos on his channel, so make sure to check him out. And I think we're going to have a look at a few more today. So we've got a couple of more guests and we'll see what else can be done. So Nick picked up a camera. He picked up a 550D. He actually got it free. So let me get you over to Nick and you can see what he says about his camera that he picked up.
Hey guys, Nick here with Picture This.
Hi Nick, thanks for joining us. How's it going with your Canon camera that you got for free?
I was like, it's probably not going to work. The guy I got it from for free listed it as broken, and then sure enough, you flip the switch and it's on, it's working 100%.
Yeah, I hear that. You had to order some batteries for it, right?
As of last week, the Canon Rebel T2i batteries that I ordered off of Amazon came in. These are the LP08 batteries, I believe.
So is everything working on the camera? Have you had a chance to test everything?
I was actually really surprised. I was like, what? No way. That's crazy. And yeah, I tested it. I pulled the shutter button. I looked at the viewfinder. All the focusing points were lighting up and working.
And I know you got the Nikon D3000, yeah? How does it compare and stack up against that camera?
I definitely want to do a comparison with the Nikon D3000 and then this camera, because they're only a year apart and one shoots video, and then the Canon has 18 megapixels compared to the Nikon's 10. So I want to see if I could pull a better image quality out of the Canon.
That would be a really cool comparison to see. We'll keep tuned for that. What lenses are you planning to get for it then?
In terms of lenses, I just picked up a Canon 50mm. It's on its way from eBay, and hopefully next week I'll have that and I'll be able to do a full kind of in-depth review and maybe even a comparison to that camera and then a couple other ones I have.
Yeah, it's a great choice. The 50mm is a great start for the camera. What else are you working on at the moment then?
Another video probably in the works is going to be a review of this camera right here. This is the Samsung NX300M.
So that was interesting to get Nick's point of view there from him. So obviously he's got a full playlist set up where he had a couple of videos where he was showing getting the new camera free. He's going through the process of cleaning it up, and he actually showed that step by step. So that's some really interesting stuff you should check out on his channel. I have been speaking to a few more people just to get a holistic view, like I said before. So we spoke to another creator who makes self-awareness and motivational type videos, and he was using a 550D as part of his setup. And it's interesting to get his point of view. So I'll show you that little bit from him now so you can understand if it is still worth it to get a 12-year-old camera in the current day and age, really. Okay, just a bit of technical difficulties there, so we'll bring him on shortly. I have done some slow-mo work on the camera, and I was able to actually record a bit of that setup to show you how the slow-mo would look. So I'll play you that segment now while I get the next guest ready. So the 550D can be used for slow-mo video work. Let's see what that would look like and how you would do it in some software. Alright guys, welcome to the video. I was shot on a Canon 550D, originally at 50 frames a second, 720p. So with that, it's gonna be slower now, and I'll render it out at 25 frames a second. At the start, you would have seen that little clip of the slow motion of the lady dancing on stage, and I'm using After Effects for this one. I used Filmora for my past one, and just to see which is better and if there's any difference. So right now all I've done is brought in some old footage from an old catwalk show, found the right one that would give me some movement that I can practice a slow-mo on. I've dropped it into After Effects here, and I've put it into the timeline, and you want to find an in and out moment in the clip so you can actually find the section that you want slow-mo, and you want to separate that out. So that's what I'm doing right now. So you'll see there I've cut the starting, which is going to be normal speed. I'm cutting the ending, which is going to be normal speed, and the middle will be the slow motion. You want it to be reasonable amount of time, so like a snapshot. You don't want it to be too long or too short. Hopefully at the start it looks natural and it's kind of like not too long or takes your attention away from the information kind of from the show and the moves that she's doing. But yes, all I'm doing now is just finding that kind of fine balance of that section on there so I could add the slow motion. So once you've got the clip separated, I muted the songs of the show and I put a separate tune in there just to avoid the copyright on YouTube, and that's just a beat in the background. And all I'm doing now is kind of adjusting the show and the kind of momentum of the slow motion to the beat, so it kind of is fast, and then the slow section is towards the middle of the slow motion. So you'll see there with the waveform, you can see the large ones are the main beat, and I want a slow bit behind the slow motion just to accentuate the slow motion and make it seem fluid. So with this, it's just a case of right clicking on the clip that you want to make slower, and from that you'll actually get the option for time, and just time stretch it. So you'll see that in this clip now. So I'm time stretching it, and then 100% is normal speed. Anything above that is slower, anything below it is faster. So looking at this now, I've done that and I just extended it out a bit, so now you can see that it's longer, and that's quite good because it's kind of like giving me a bit of half the length of the original clip, kind of. So if I play that and render it, you'll see at the end of the clip I'll put the full little section again just so you can see the difference. But render that out and save it. Excellent. So we had a bit of technical difficulties there. That's the amazing thing about live shows, but we have got the guest ready, so we'll be playing that next. Hello to everybody popping in chat. It's always great to have you guys coming on. This week's show, because we've made it about a 12-year-old camera, we had loads of guests speaking. So that was After Effects that I was using there just for the quick edit to show you what you could do with the old camera to make it slow-mo. So hello Uber Vincent, great to have you on, mate. Lakshmi's here, Raj is here, BS. We've got a few people dropping in, and I'm going to be coming to the edit my raw section, which is like the best bit of the show, because I'm going to look at photos which are from an old camera, which you guys are going to be, well, you have edited for us. I'm going to be looking at those edits. But before we get to that, one last guest that we managed to speak to just to get his opinion about how you can use an old camera for vlogging and making creational, motivational type videos, which he does for his channel. So he's a new and upcoming creator, so it's always great to check that out. So let me play that for you now.
YouTube, and the fact that you can get all these different all these different cool lenses for it. I mean, I honestly think it's worth it even in 2020. Like I said, I picked mine up for $120 on eBay in mint condition. I had to purchase the lens outside of that. It was just the body, which I winded up going with a 50mm lens, which isn't made from Canon. I forgot, actually, it's in some other brand of lens that makes it, but it works for the Canon camera, so that's cool. And I've saw some really other good deals on lenses, between 50 to, you know, all the way up to $200 lenses. So it kind of just depends on what you want to be able to do.
Excellent. That was his quick overview. I asked him for a bit of information about that, and he's right. It depends what you want to do with the camera. So your guys in chat are asking about the camera. That's right. This camera I'm using at the moment is a 12-year-old camera. I'm using it as a webcam, but the photos that I gave you for Edit My Raw, which we'll come on to now. Yes, I made it a bit more nicer this time. So Edit My Raw, I basically supplied a portrait and 2 landscapes from a 12-year-old camera. So I said, this is a 12-year-old camera. Can you guys work your magic on these old photos and show me what you can do with them? So if you're here from Edit My Raw, good surprise. Let me show you the 3 photos I gave them to edit for me. So these are all on that old camera. Let me just have a look, because I know Uber Vincent said something. So I think all cameras in these 3 was good. Detail and sensor high quality, just maybe over contrasted only. Yeah, you're right. There's different types of settings in the camera. And back when I got the camera originally, it has like a few default modes, which automatically applies things like face beauty mode and those kind of things. But in RAW, you want it RAW. So it's like you can make it just RAW. So okay, here's one image I gave you for Edit My RAW. And that's the portrait I gave you, which are all taken on an old camera. So if you're looking at buying a camera which is this old, this is the type of photos you can take. That's a landscape which isn't great, but I was amazed what the guys did with it, the retouches. Let me go back. So this image here I had printed out ages ago, and I used it in like an exhibition. Let me show you it, just so you can see my edit of it. So if you started with the show originally, you'll know I showed it at the starting, but that was an edit. It went through exhibitions and it got awarded. So it's interesting that an old camera can still perform. Let me get it up side by side. So it's not a massive size, but you can see that it was printed out quite big from an old sensor. That camera is only, what, 18 megapixels, I think, something like that. So yes, that was Edit My Raw, guys. Let me get up these edits now. Okay, so those are your raw photos. Let me go back to, how I'll do it this time is I'll do it a bit differently. I want to show you all the images together. So the portraits together, the landscapes together, so we can compare them a bit quicker. So let me bring up, let's start with the portrait. And let me see who submitted. Because we've had really good level of submission this time. So thank you everybody that submitted. It's always great to see your photos. I'll start with, okay, that's my original. That's the first edit. So already you can see, look at that. That jewelry looks great. I'm not going to tell you the names yet. I'm going to keep them secret. So there's one. That's the standard. Oops, let me get rid of that so it doesn't confuse us. That's the edit. Standard. Edit. The colors have come out a lot better. The face detail is great. Let me bring another one in. Ooh, a bit more contrast, a bit more definition. So you can see it's made it slightly darker there. I'm not sure if it's my monitor, but there's a slight tinge of red on there. So this one's Alan. My one was a bit hazy and blurry. But considering it's got like a HDR feel about it, I'm just going through all the pictures first and then we'll go into like a proper deep dive because loads of them were impressive. Alpha Juan, yes, a regular. Is he in chat? Make sure to say hi if you're in chat. It's always great to see you guys. But here, I like the color contrast he did because if you look at her earring, look at that green. This stream is only 1080p, so you might not see it full on, but let me just make sure we are good. Yes, we are. That was Alpha Juan. That was a new name I saw. Altruistic. Let me just make sure chat can be seen. There we go. Yes, you're right, Juan. The back ISO monitors I've got are calibrated. This one I'm showing on, you're right, it's not as good as them monitors. But when I looked at it on those monitors, it looked fine. So you're right, that's something really important actually to mention. If you're doing printing work or any type of color profiling, it's important to make sure your monitors are color profiled so the colors you're looking at are the same on the editor's PC, for example, or Dolby, or whichever standard you look at. Okay, here's another one. Altruistic emphasis. Let's have a look. Ah, yes. I might do a separate video. You're right. For editing as well, it's important, especially for print work, because that, when I printed it, when I was giving it to the printer, I made sure they were on the same color profile as what I edited down. So when it prints, I get the same colors. But yeah, those are like big boy professional displays. Two of them are. I use them mainly for editing. Okay, I might do a separate video on those just to explain that, because it's interesting to see what is important for those kind of displays. Okay. Oh, chewy macaroon. Nice. It's like a bit of a, not film, but what's that effect? He's put a logo on there as well. Let me show you this logo. We had a few of these logo effects. Let's have a look. Mana? Can you see that? Mana. Yeah, okay. So that's another one. These are all photos from an old camera which are being edited for us. David Palchetti. Okay. I'm already in my mind going back to some that we are going to look at, so I'm going to compare these. I'm just doing a quick dive through them because it's good to see them side by side. Every time I've done it before, I've looked at like individual 3 photos and we've never compared them. Okay, and then I'll do like a quick brush through. Okay, let me see. We have some activity. Okay. Yes, Alan knows his stuff. Interesting about the color calibration and IPS. Oh, okay. Straight away, I can tell there, the eyes, more detail. The little bit of hunchback from Notre Dame has been taken out. I have to be nice. We have to be nice. Okay. Great detail. Johannes, are you in chat, mate? You know, when we see this kind of edit, we know Johannes is the creator. Canso, that's his edit. Oh, Canso. But Leb did a nice one there. That's the two. We got Leb in. Raj, how's it going, mate? Thanks for joining. It's good to have you on. Okay. That is a decent edit, Leb. Leb always does quite well, to be honest. Okay, there's a bit of detail, a bit of fading. I like... Okay, 1 minute. So Legendary is another good one to keep an eye on. He made this very, very, like, high fashion. You can see the hair there. He kind of touched up the hair to make it nice. He touched up the cheek to get rid of the unnecessary shadows. Okay, that's me just going through them. Majipu, amazing. Maji's really good at eyes. He kind of brings out the detail in eyes. So look at that. You can even see me taking the photo in the reflection of the eye with my camera. Very nice, very nice. That's a good one. My favorite so far, Majipu. You know what? You got an award. Let me put that on top so it's not in the edit. Okay. Majipu, beautiful job. Real Steel. I like how he lightened it up a bit. Wow. Ah, Maj, nice one, mate. Thanks for joining us. He's made it to one. Let me go on. Oh, why? Maj made it to a session. Normally he gets some replay and normally comments. We're going to go into it in more detail. But I'm just going through them because there's a lot of entries there. And that was my favorite, the portrait. A lot of people worked some amazing magic on there. Uber Vincent. Ho, ho, ho. Okay, yeah, he cut out a bit of that. And you know what? He's getting an award as well, mate. I can't just hand out awards, but those straight away when I look at them, I was downloading, I was like, wow. But there's some regulars there. I think as we get and progress, people are getting better and better. So, okay, Uber Vincent. Nice detail, very natural edit. Let me have a look. I think he's cropped it. And what else did you do with that? I'm going to read your descriptions, actually. I know you gave a lot of information in the post, so I'm coming to that. Let me just make sure I don't miss anybody in chat. No softening in mine. Yes, true. Okay, yeah, because I think Real Steel is soft, and then we can see yours come up. And straight away, the comparison is good because then I got the detail. You can see in her jewelry, the level of detail that's come out. Eyes are nice. And that's back to the start, Albin. Okay, that one there, I'm going to do my... Okay, that's a quick glance between all the edits. Look at that beauty there. Bam! Johannes, mate, smashing it up. Okay, so let's check. Okay, Cancer. Okay, now that was all the portraits. Let me have a look at the portraits and explanations because I always like to read your comments. So, Juan, portrait masked the face, then reduced the clarity and texture for clean look. Added a radial filter to highlight the face. So let me bring that up so you guys can see it. That one is mate Juan, who does a beautiful job every time. Okay, there. So now you can see that's his portrait edit. Impressive job. He's given us his explanation. Real Steel portrait. Here are those three. I pretty much did everything in Camera Raw except the color grading and sharpening and some tiny tweaks with the clone tool in the cherry tree photo. Okay, I'm just checking the portrait ones at the moment so I can get the explanations. Leb. Okay, that's Juan. Let me get Leb's up so I can compare those two together. Okay, Leb. That's Leb. Oh, it's always hard, isn't it? It's hard. Okay, I'm going to say 1 and 2, and you guys have to tell me which one. So in the comments, you say 1 or 2. Okay, this one you're seeing is 1. Oops. This one is 2. Which one do you prefer? 1? 2? I know it's hard for me because I can't pick, so I'm going to basically go on the edit and say which one you guys say. Ooh, it's a hard one. I like both. I might call it a draw. Oh, we're getting loads of ones. Okay, interesting. Make sure you don't vote for yourself. I'm keeping a close eye on you. Okay, yeah, nice one. Okay, and what else we got? Albin. Okay, so he did the portrait only. Decided to make it a little bit vintage with some sort of elegance by turning hair highlights into purple and adding more vignette. I also lighted up the eyes with little bit and turned down the skin texture to hide imperfections. Played a little with curves to soften shadows slightly. I hope you like it. Albin's one. Let me bring that up. So that was Leb. That was Juan Alpha Bad Boy edit. And let me get up the last one. Not a last one, but another one from Alan, which is there's two. I've got Albin and I've got Alan. Okay. Yes, that's Alan's one. So he's explained the edit on that. And yeah, I did my usual recover the detail and color adjustment. There was a black line or hair in her eye, her left eye, that I removed the landscape. Okay, that's the landscape one. Okay, that's that edit. So it's always interesting to see these. I'm comparing it to Juan's, but yeah. Okay, Raj, spring photo, I'll come to that next. Okay, Vincent. Uber Vincent is the nice one as well. I remember that. Let me look at that one. So if I go Uber Vincent. Oh yeah, Uber Vincent. So lady, in this I focused on the harmony of colors and regained shadows and also did the appropriate retouching of the skin. Yes, I liked that. It kind of gave it like a natural polish to it while maintaining a reasonable time. She wears a lot of makeup, so already a doll makes it difficult not to overdo. Yes, you're right. It can be tricky. That it was like a big fashion event, so they had makeup artists and all the makeup artists were trying to, like, you know, give it the full to say, oh, we're really good. So they kind of plastered people up. Okay, Uber Vincent is that one. Let me compare it to the original. That's the original. Yes. Nice job. Xander in the house. We got the hands. He's made it. Welcome. Great to have you on, mate. Let's just have a quick catch up on chat. Nice job. Okay, unify skin tones and too much plastered. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like when the makeup artists are there with like they have like a thing on them and they have loads of brushes. And it's like, all you see is just dust. I've got a photo of that somewhere, actually. I might give you that in the next edit. It's like a makeup artist standing there and a model, and it's just like hazy. Imagine might do his special and make it candy floss like he did in the other video, the other edit. Okay, and let me get some more up because these are interesting. I'm liking these. Hope you like them. Kansoa, nice job. He's one of the newer editors. Or not newer, but he's the first time I've seen him do one for us. So thank you for that. Great job. David did a nice one of the portrait. If you watch this in replay, make sure to comment, David. Just, it's nice to have a couple of lines because when we're discussing it, it's good to see like the edit and how things are working out. My edit of the portrait, Johannes. Okay. So yeah, Johannes is really good. He mentioned he was busy, so he might not make it to the show, but thank you for the description, Johannes. So let me bring it up so we can see it as well. Johannes, bad boy. Okay, let me get rid of that one. So now Johannes's explanation. Started in capture 1. Adjusted white balance and added some contrast, sharpening, and used radial filters to lighten up the eyes a bit. Then I moved to Photoshop, did a skin retouch, some liquefy. He liquefies bang on normally all the time. Okay, that's the original. Notice the slight hunchback of Notre Dame. And then look at that, as if by magic, just shrinked. Bam. Bam. And the eyes also accentuated. Okay, and let me carry on with this explanation. Masked a few layers to the background so to soften and lighten it. Did a more thorough retouch on the eyes, darkened the lips, and a bit of general dodge and burn. Then I used some gradient masks to stylize the colors. Selective coloring to emphasize the blue of her outfit and a few other minor tweaks. Great job, Johannes. You know what? Bam. See, I like that reward. I might make another one. Let me know what could be good reward. I can do like fireworks or something, so it's like an effect. Okay. Magi, sunset, and portrait. Soften the skin, reduced the texture, cleaned up some rogue hairs, and made the eyes stand out more. Added a very slight split tone and soft vignette. Magi's, we've already seen that one before. Let me show you it again. That's Magi's one. I do like that. I love the detail in the eyes. It's very like poppy. Yeah, see, that's the one that you could see me taking the photo in it. Okay, and what else we got? Paja. Let me sec. I think Paja did a portrait. Did he? Possibly not. I think Paja did the other edits. Let me check. He's done the... Paja, are you in chat? Did you do the... Okay, no, he did the landscapes, the cherry tree and the landscape, the like sunset kind of thing. Legendary. I'm gonna call him Legendary. Okay, so his portrait, I did some healing brushwork, removed some hair from her forehead. Yes, we saw that earlier. Good job. Plus some dodge and burn to give the portrait saturation. So let me bring that up. Okay, yeah, that's the one. We saw that earlier. That was a good edit. That's the original. That's the edit. A bit more detail there, which is great. And the head was cleaned up a lot more. Beautiful job. Okay, let's have a quick look at some more. Okay, yeah, those were the portraits. Now, let's go to the landscapes, because you guys did some amazing work on the landscapes as well. So let me check and bring up the original landscape. Let's do the cherry tree first. So if you joined us in chat now, that cherry tree I printed out and put it on like a... This was like years ago. You might have missed it. I showed you a bit earlier, but that's the... Yeah, that's the print. That's my edit of the print. What I gave you was a raw photo. So let's look at your edits of that. So 10-year-old camera, landscape edit. So here are the edits. Okay. I'm going to look at all of them and then we'll look in more. Wow. Okay. You can see distinctive feels. Have you seen Merlin? That's like a Merlin feel about it. And that one's more like... I'm trying to think of a film. Is Tony here? Tony's good at films. Ooh, I like that beautiful slight peach color, like a peach tree. Leb, nice job, like a painting. Legendary, like a sunny day, nice job. I'm gonna go in more detail. Ooh, I like that crop. Which one's this? Magipoo, nice. And did you guys notice that duck in there? That was like my... He's basically washing himself under the tree. I was hoping someone would bring out that detail or edit it a bit more. Paja. Ooh, yes. Paja. You know what? Well done, Paja. Nice edit. Okay. I'm gonna look at your comments. Raj, mate. Smashing it up. I'm giving out too many awards. I can't do this, but that is nice. Okay, let's have a look at the Real Steel, Uber Vincent. Okay, those are some nice edits. Let me have a look at your explanations, because these are all very good jobs. So landscape. Okay. Change the hue, yes, okay. Used my preset on this and tweaked a little bit. So I know you guys are really good. You guys sometimes have your own presets that you use to get more detail out in certain types of shot. So that's really good. Removed some dark spots caused by lens or sensor. Interesting. Used the radial filter for vignette. Did some HSL work. I changed the hue of the leaves or petals. I don't know yet. What tree is that? That is a cherry blossom tree, and muted the green to make the tree stand out. I don't know about the composition though. It feels not right. Okay, let me check them together. So that's both with landscapes, landscape 1, landscape 2. So alphas is, I like that alpha. I like that. Slight crop in, so he's made it more like film. Let me open up his other one because he's edited the second landscape as well. Alpha. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, this one was like, it wasn't the best shot, but a lot of people asked for landscapes, and in my last stream, I kind of said before I ended the stream, I gave the guys that were in the chat a chance. I said, pick out ones you want to edit for next time, and they picked out a few, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You guys pick them. So I like it. It brings back some more detail in the details. So if I go, oh, see, that gives you like a safari effect, you know, like when you go safaring, those trees and the sky. It's really nice. Okay, so that was his 2 edits. Alpha did a nice job. Xander, let's have a quick look. Oh, okay, crop ratio. Yes, that is nice. Oh, okay, dark spots, interesting. Let me see. I think at that time when I was taking those photos, we were messing about in the water. So it's possible that I had splashback in the lens from the water, which may have caused dark spots in the photo. Because the bottom of it, I can remember. I'll look at my raw, I'll check the dates, but I think you're right. There was something there. It wasn't quite. And plus I showed you these on the screen, so you guys probably haven't seen them in as much detail as you can in the raw file. So you're right, fair point, thank you. Okay, nice job though. I like your edits. Let me bring up some more. Okay, Real Steel did the sunset and cherry tree. So let's have a look at Real Steel. I'm giving you a sneak peek there of everybody's edits. Real Steel. Ah, wow, look at that. So he's been interesting. Real Steel, are you in chat? I like how you were able to bring out some more detail in these dark, because that I thought was too dark to get detail back from, but you're doing some good jobs. I love that sensor. Look at that. We had someone in like the 6th or 7th episode of the photography live show. We used to call it Edit My Raw back then. They put in some birds. You remember that, Raj? Are you there? They put some birds in, and it's like, I was like, wow. But yeah, nice job. So Real Steel, that's one of his light from, let me get his description up. Okay, 3 photos pretty much did everything in camera raw. Yes, we saw that. And he's got a cherry tree as well. Let me bring, that's the original. Let me bring that's the original. That's Real Steel. So let's bring up the original cherry tree, and let me bring up his cherry tree edit. So his cherry tree will be, okay, that's his cherry tree. Ah, original edit. Okay, so he's giving it a slight touch up. What are you using for that Real Steel? Are you Real Steel as in the film Real Steel? You remember that? The robots used to fight. Real Steel 1, Real Steel 2. Mohawk and all that. Okay, so he's gone for a slight edit. Let me just keep an eye on chat, because I know you guys are keeping it difficult to do this without. And yes. Great. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Thank you for joining. It's always nice to have you guys in chat and keeping me motivated. Live chat had only 5 people watching. I'm glad many people are participating. Yes. Yeah, it's good. I think as we get through them, we did like a section at the start of the show, Xander, where we were looking at, the bot, the fighting one. We did a section in the start of the show because I dedicated this photography live show to the Canon 550D, which is an old camera. So we had 5 creators from around the world that spoke about the camera. So if you watch this in replay, you've got like a whole section at the start of the show. And these photos are also from an old camera. So it's good to see that. Okay. Yes. So Real Steel did a nice job there. Nice, sweet edit. Yeah, Raj, we need to sort that out. Edit my CCTV raw. It's all coming. It's all coming, mate. Okay. That was Real Steel. Portrait we covered. Altruistic emphasis. Okay, you know what? This one is a nice one. Is he in chat? Altruistic emphasis. Thank you very much for your edit. I liked it. Let me bring it up so we can see it. It's like got like a more enhanced feel about it. The greens and the peach from the tree, they kind of contrast nicely. Oh, long one. Let me go back to the original. Okay, that's the original. See, it's nice to get that a bit of deep summery feel. Because that pops now. If you look at that tree on the green versus mine, obviously it was raw, but he was able to pull out really good detail. So I like that edit. Nice job. Thank you. Let's have a quick look at another one. Leb, landscape and sunset. I'll do those together. So for the landscape sunset, I decided to make it a pink sunset. The pebbles are more visible and with more detail. Leb always goes creative. I like that. He does like a bit different. For the last one, I only highlighted the pink tree that is the main subject of this photo. So I changed the colors of the trees in the background to bring out the pink tree. Thank you for sharing and see you on the next photography live show. Maj, Leb, sorry. Nice job. Thank you. I'm hoping he's here. I'm sure that's for him. Okay, so let me look at those. Leb. Oh yeah, this looks like a painting effect, which is a nice edit. Let me bring up his other one as well, which was the sunset. Leb. Ah yes, he made it a slightly different composition. Let me go here. Okay, so that is okay. That's a tree. Okay. Yes. So you got rid of the colors in the background to give more detail to the front tree. Nicely done. Good job. Well done, Leb. And then let's look at the sunset. Okay, he went for a like crop there. So it's kind of leading you in. So it's a different view on it. Yes, so it's got some detail back from that. He squared it off. Nice job. I like that. You give it a bit more of a different feel. Albin portrait, we've covered that one. Alan, okay, Alan 7331. That one, he's done additional. Alan 7331. Let's have a look at. Oh, yes. Okay, this reminds me. Raj, what film does this remind you of? It's got like a Harry Potter feel about it. Like, you know, when the sky's kind of got a bit of a. Let me have a look at the original. Let me close the ones down that we've covered. Okay, original. Oh yeah, look at that detail. This looks a lot better on the screen than probably the stream because it's only 1080p. Can I show you a full screen? Good there. Let me show you a full screen. That's his edit. That's the first. I'm hoping that shows a lot better now. But yeah, that was a nice. That's nice. You know what? I'm going to give him an award for that. Well done, Alan. 73312. Hopefully that's not your age. 73,312 years old. He's doing quite well. He's got good eyesight. He's got good editing skills, even at that age. Okay, and let's check this other one out. Okay. Cherry trees. Okay, this is Raj's explanation. I liked Raj's one as well. Let me bring Raj's one up. Close that. Raj. Okay, so Raj's explanation is, okay, amazing photos. I went for the cherry tree spring. Story of edit. I wanted to go for a spring feel. Edit. So edit started out by first exposing the light correctly. Let me show you this so you could probably read it at the same time as I read it. And show you the photo as well. Okay. Okay, yeah. So correcting and balancing all the shadows and highlights, which was very hard. Yes, because in that photo, because of how the light was, it was like half sunlit and half shadow. So yeah, you were right, it was a difficult one. Okay, after I got a neutral photo, I started my painstaking process of making a cold photo warm and spring-like. Yes, using the HSL, I tried to color the sky, grass and the petals of the correct shade of blue, green and pink, then used a mix of 3 graduated filters to get a perfect shade of sunlight on the tree running from right to left. Then using the color calibration tool, I tried to differentiate background and foreground colors. Finally, some last minute tweaking gave the final results. I may have over edited, but the fields does justice to the photo. You guys tell me. Let me put it full screen. You can see it. Look at that beautiful thing there. That'll make a nice wallpaper or a print on a desktop. Nice job. I like that. Let me keep an eye on. Wow, what's that? I should have gone a crop focus and more sunset. DX Photo Lab. Is that like an editing type of program like Capture One is? Hello, welcome, Think, Make, Share. Great to have you on board. Love your work. Keep it coming. We're just checking out some edits from an old camera right here. And let me just check what that is. I've got an internet browser, so I can probably search. Okay, so let me get you up on the stream. So that's what it is. Image processing software developed by the French company. It was formerly called DxO Optics Pro. So it's similar to Lightroom and Darktable, so it's that kind of editing. How are you finding that, Xander? Do you like it? Is it good in terms of what you get with it? Is it a big change from Lightroom? Okay. Let's just check that out. Okay, so let me check where we are. So we've got to Raj. Uber Vincent did some amazing jobs. Lady Park landscape. So let me get his landscape. I try not to separate the sunset and keep it as your eyes would see it. In this case, I find the ACR Lightroom engine is enough. So let me get Uber Vincent's up. Okay, there. Yeah, so he gave it that slight pop because the pinks there, they're like candy floss type luminous pink. But I like, look at that. He's got more detail out there. Let me bring the original up. Okay, look at that. Look at that thing there, pixelated as hell. And look at Uber Vincent. Guess what, Uber Vincent? Bam, mate, you did a good job there. Nice edit. Okay, but I like that. That's another nice one. It's got a different feel about it. Yeah, let's keep an eye on that. Nah, Uber Vincent, I like it. There's a few nice ones there, but you know what it is? With this kind of thing, it's down to how you see it. Because what happens is everybody's got their perception of stuff. So, like, for example, if you're feeling in a certain mood, you might like the detailed shot. If you're feeling in a different mood, you might like this shot. But I like it. It reminds me of, we used to have a painting back in the day in our old house on the wall. And it used to be like that. It had like a hole in it. And we painted the fixed bit ourselves to fix it. Okay, but now, yeah, it's all in the eye of the beholder. So you did a good job. Let me check. What else have we got? Okay, the park lady. Okay, he's got another edit as well. Let me get the secondary one up. Uber Vincent. Oh, wow. Okay, we got a border on this one. Nice one here. Okay, so look at that bad boy there, mate. It's got like a bit of HDR effects going on there. Let me bring this full screen. Let me screen there. Look at that beautiful edit. Uber Vincent did that nice job there. Let's bring up the original. Wait. So that's the original and that's his edit. So look at that, all that detail there that's come out. Reminds me of Safari again. Kind of like that, trees and everything. But yeah, nice job there. So you did a nice edit overall. Let's just keep an eye on this. Yes, you're right. Sometimes the border attracts and makes it more comparison. So it's similar to getting an edit and then having, it's like when I choose to have like a black border on the prints versus like a white border. I've got him down there. I showed you him earlier. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Uber Vincent, landscape, try and separate the sunset. Yes. Lady focused. Park. Okay, yeah. So, okay, not much detail there. I'm keeping an eye on the ones with most information on so I can make sure that we cover those. Edit of my portrait, we covered that. Magipoo, we did that, but let me read his edits. So the sunset, nice image, cropped down the sky and improved the colorations of the sky, made the scenes less flat by blending in exposures of different parts, cleaned up the birds and the sensor smudge, uploaded wrong version first, have updated it. Oh, interesting. Did I pick up the right version? Let's have a look. Sunset. That will be Magipoo's sunset versus a sunset. Yeah, yes, yeah, I got the right one. And the other one would have been, that was the secondary one. Let me make sure I've got the right one for that one then. Okay, Magipoo's crop. Let me make sure that that is the right one, because I know he's mentioned that he's uploaded again. Yeah, okay, that's one. We got the right ones. So that's Maggie's job there. He noticed the bird and he mentioned that in his comments. So good job. That was Uber Vincent's. Let's get the original up. So there versus there. Okay, nicely done. Bring that back up. Okay. Cherry tree portrait. Wrong version. Yes. Paja. We covered Pajas. Paja did a nice job. There's one in there that stands out. Let me show you my okay, 1 minute. Let me show you this. So look, see there. That's all those. For some reason, let me make these a bit bigger. Okay, there. So to me, there's some that stand out. Alpha 1. For some reason, I like that because it's a bit darker and it's a bit more moody and it's got that like nice feel about it. There's a nice edit by Kansuari. That one's a nice edit. It's like a bit more intense. It's giving it a bit of HDR feel about it. And Raj stands out and Legendary stands out as well, because Legendary is giving it like a bit of a summery feel. So that was a nice job. Let me go to only screen and just check. Yeah, that was a nice job. Let me check if I've covered everything now. Let's just have a quick look that we haven't missed anyone. Legendary, I tried to give a short sort of HDR look and create saturated sunset feeling. He's right. Landscape, I did some color. Yes. Okay, great job, guys. That was a nice edit you did this time. Excellent job with all the edits. It's always great to see these. In the show notes below in the description, we'll have all the links to these if you're watching this in replay, so you can make sure to check out the sections you liked. Today we mainly concentrated on photos from a 12-year-old camera, and we had creators at the start of the show speaking about that. So it's always great to get you in chat. I'm hoping you found this useful. It's nice to get you on. Thank you for joining me. We had a number of participants. Let me just give you guys a shout out, because it's nice to have you in. Participants, we had BS, we had Madge the Reefer, we had Uber Vincent, we had Xander, we had Think Make Share, we had Tony, I think at some point, we had Raj, we had loads of people. So it's really nice to get you in, and it's good to see your edits. Keep them coming, and make sure to check the show notes in the description. Next week's edit, you know what, because you guys are here, do you want to pick the pictures for next time? I can show you what I've got and you can tell me which ones you want. Okay, let me bring these up. Okay, so next week's would possibly be any photos out of these photos you can have to edit. I've got some more. These are like a bank of them. Let me tell you numbers. Let me just make sure you guys are still here. Okay, I'll do numbering, and then just tell me which ones you think are okay. So this one is number 1 for next week's show, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, looks like he's taking a poo, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 1. Yeah, I probably went too fast for that, but let me know which ones you think look half decent that you want to edit. Do you prefer landscapes, portraits, or mixture? Okay, I've got a few numbers popping up. So 8, 14. Okay, make sure to. It's always good. I think the guys that make it here, you guys get your pick for next show. Wicked. Okay, I'll check your numbers out that you've said, and I'll try my best to give you those edits. And I'll try and see the ones you've picked. If you like them, I'll make sure next time I give you them kind of photos. But yeah, next week's show we're going to be concentrating on the Canon 5D Mark II, which is that camera there, and I'll give you some photos from that to edit as well, and that's going to be dedicated. So we've got a lot more creators speaking on next week's show about that camera to give us benefits about it. But thank you everybody for joining me. It's been a pleasure to have you and great to hang out with you. So I'll see you on next week's photography live show.